whenever you're fishing in current, your boat position is extremely key. And it's more difficult in current than it is obviously in water that's still, just because of you've got the current pushing one way and it always seems like the wind's going the other direction. But being able to keep your boat in a position to where you can make the most accurate cast and make the most, just fish the most efficiently is extremely important and will help you catch more fish. Because like what I'm doing here, this current is really strong where I'm having to back drift. I'm having to just let the boat float backwards, but I'm constantly on the motor bumping it, slowing the boat down, keeping the angle of the boat parallel to the bank. That just makes it where it's easier for me to fish. It's easier for me to make a quartering cast upstream, bring my bait back at an angle with the current. I'm not bringing it straight back with it where it'd be blowing past the fish too fast. Just bringing it back at an angle with the current where I can drive it across those rocks like that where I know those fish are hiding behind. So fishing in current boat positioning is extremely key, and it's funny because it's actually positioning your bait as much as it is the boat. The angle of your retrieve based on where your boat is sitting is extremely, extremely important. People always think of fishing places that have current whenever it's real hot in the summertime and that fish are seeking out current, you know, then because it's cooler, it's more oxygenated, and all that's very true. But if fish live in rivers all the time, just the way it is, they always live there. It's just that during those times, typically lakes are a little tougher, and if you can get somewhere that's got cooler water, you can typically catch those fish a little easier. But I've caught fish in rivers and current when the water's really, really moving fast, all the way down into the mid 40s, even low 40s at times. But 45, 48 degrees, it's just like fishing in a lake. You get fewer bites then, but the bites you get are almost always bigger fish. So you can certainly catch some really big fish in rivers and tail race situations whenever the water is in that upper 40, mid 40 type range. Okay, we've got the real fast moving water out here on the main channel, but we've got a point that sticks out. We've got a really big eddy right here behind it. If you actually want to fish the current the right way in a place like this, you need to get in close to the bank and actually throw downstream. This eddy is coming down and it's actually washing back up this way. So if you keep floating down, making your cast upstream, you're actually bringing your bait the wrong direction for these fish that are sitting over here near the bank. They're going to be facing down this way because that's the way the current is coming to them. Even though the river out here is flowing this direction, this eddy is coming back at this way because of the way the water's swirling. So you always want to pay attention to the water that you're fishing, what direction it's actually going. Whenever it's this late in the fall, basically early winter, there's 3 or 4 things that I really feel like I can try. And a spinner bait, a shallow crankbait, a jerk bait, and a jig. Between those 4 techniques, you're going to find somewhere on the lake that day where you can catch some fish with one of those. You may have to tweak it a little bit. It may end up being a lipless crankbait instead of a regular, maybe a square bill or a round bill crankbait. And it may be a deep jerk bait or it may be a shallow jerk bait. But one of those 4 types of techniques, and it could be casting a jig or flipping it as well, but one of those 4 will catch fish basically everywhere you go in the early winter, kind of late fall time period that we're fishing in right now.